You're not really saying that music can kill, are you?
Yes, I am.
Music can be a very powerful thing. Nothing galvanizes the emotions as quickly.
Hello, kiddies. We're going to have a real good time together because we are talking with Gregory McLoughlin. I'm terrible at names. I always do this, but he's this cool singer-songwriter who's been doing free shows on YouTube every Monday
Since
and
COVID.
since COVID, and now has his first record out, his first album out after doing a series of EPs.
Yes.
And he is a lot of fun.
And he plays all different kinds of stuff. Like,
Yes.
he takes requests. He has an avid following that like goes up and down based on people's schedules, and really interesting musician. And
Yes.
you like build your fans.
Right. And you'll be on Monday requesting Xanadu.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
he'll request magic.
Oh, magic. The other thing I wanted to discuss was friend of the program, Alan Niven.
Yes.
So he came on a few months ago to promote his book about his time as Guns N' Roses manager.
Yeah.
And if you have been watching your Amazon cart to see when this gets shipped, you may have noticed that it has either been put off to April 1st of next year or December 31st of next year.
Mm-hmm.
This is because a few members of Guns N' Roses are less than thrilled with what is in the book.
Yeah.
And I believe it's mostly W. Axl Rose is.
Well, yeah.
We know Izzy is okay with it because he gave him a pull quote for the book.
Right. Right.
But I feel like Izzy don't care anymore.
Well, Izzy, it's Izzy.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're all cool in their own way, but
Right.
I think Alan's really cool. I loved talking to him.
He was great.
Great old chat.
Yes.
Down quite a rabbit hole, as we do.
Yes. So, but if you, were interested in reading the book, listen to our conversation with Alan because it's really great. If either way, listen to the talk with Alan because there's a bunch of stories he tells in there that are also in the book and a few that are not. And let's just say the ones that we don't discuss that are in the book mostly involve him yelling at Axl, telling him to go do something, and then Axl acquiescing to Alan's demands.
Yes.
And I do not think that is a slight upon Axl's persona because Alan seems like a guy you would not want mad at you.
No, not at all. And honestly, his job is to do those things.
Do that, right.
Those things. I mean, that's what you do.
And if he didn't, he would be blamed for letting this. Right. It would be, this is so awful. He just let this guy run roughshod over him, etc.
Right. And don't you think the more one pushes back on these things, the more like everyone's going to want it?
Yeah. I mean,
so don't you add to the, see, I feel like, I don't know, from my lens, I would feel like you push on it more in the evil marketing way to actually secretly want it out.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Almost evilly behind the scenes helping make it a bigger thing. So maybe it's all.
But does Axl kind of feel like he needs that villain to like rail against and to bristle at?
I know, but I feel like he shouldn't at this point.
He shouldn't.
Weird at this point for Axl. It feels very Axl like 2004.
Right. Well, and that, I mean, this is during, Alan was with them from the end, or the beginning of the Appetite for Destruction tour through, I think, most of Use Your Illusion.
Right.
I believe. But I've been reading this book on Sam Peckinpah, Bloody Sam.
So many books. How are you going to keep the stories straight?
No clue. Yeah, so if I start talking about Ali McGraw, we just asking me to narrow it down.
I always know when it's
yeah. But by The Getaway, which is like post Wild Bunch, post Straw Dogs, he's still, and everyone who worked with him were saying he will fight with you and argue with you, and if you acquiesce, then he will fire you. He wants people to like push back and be like, no, you're wrong, here's why.
Which
And
makes sense.
but that's at a point in his career where like he's won those battles. He doesn't need to. He should be able to just take the first reel of Wild Bunch, drop it on the ground, and go, I'm sorry, can you pick that up for me?
Right.
And do you think Axl could have dropped a platinum record on the ground and said, sorry, this fell out of my pocket?
Well, I think he's done that a few times.
He probably has one in his pocket as we speak.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Do you, in any of these books, are we talking about Allie's hair in Convoy?
I haven't gotten to the Convoy chapter yet. I'm just finishing up Getaway.
Okay, because I've,
But I will ask about the perm that shook Hollywood.
please, because one of the many great moments of my life that really make me happy is I've been fortunate several times in my life to have people say I looked like Ally McGraw, which I looked nothing like Ally McGraw other than having dark hair and often being tan and often parting it in the middle and sometimes wearing cool coats and sweaters in the winter.
And you dated Ryan O'Neal for a while too.
Well, yeah, and
Yeah,
in my dreams I was with Steve McQueen, but
right. Love means you're never saying sorry. But
well,
anyway,
right, and I never say sorry.
there you go.
So this I learned
Yeah.
all of that. So I got what I was supposed to out of that movie.
Mhm. Clearly.
And not apologizing. So this all makes sense. And I in my dreams, I also was on, oh crap, I'm gonna get it wrong. Was she on Dynasty or the Colbys? She was on one of them. So
Yeah.
all of this to say, I always have to make sure that it's not in the Getaway.
Right.
So not the Getaway. I love the Getaway. It's not in Convoy.
Yeah. No, that it's
Although I would also give
hop into a 18-wheeler with Chris Christopherson,
any
aka the Rubber Duck.
any day, especially the Rubber Duck.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, and some might argue that whole film is unfortunate, but I think both of us would argue those people are wrong.
They are wrong. They are very, very wrong.
My favorite story from another Peck and Paw book, did I tell you this one? That when they were shooting that, I believe it was either Chris Christopherson or James Coburn who was visiting the set. Again, you want to talk about, but so they went up in a helicopter to shoot the wide shots of the trucks, quite literally in convoy formation.
Of course.
And apparently, Peckinpah was doing so much coke with the open door of a helicopter that James Coburn was basically holding onto his belt, being like, if I let go, this guy will be plummeting to his death.
Of course.
And I believe he ended up directing most of the second unit shots because he was like, we cannot put this director back up in a helicopter safely.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So
Ever since the day that the world began.
this is your first full-length album.
It is. It is. First thing under my own name.
So how did this come about? What was the reason, kind of why was now the time to make the full-length record?
I've been doing singles for years. I've put out almost 20 of them, and a conversation with someone about a year ago just kind of really pushed me in the right direction as far as just needing to make an album. It was somebody with a lot of industry experience who said, you're not really going to get taken seriously like you want to unless you put out a full length album, like just kind of an artistic statement. And he's like, I see you at open mics all the time. You have a million songs. Why are you keep on doing singles? And I was like, the budget with singles is like, much smaller, and I can get all these little hits of promotion. And he just convinced me that it was a worthwhile step. And then I spoke to Mike Greenhouse over at Relics. I asked his opinion on the whole thing, and he felt exactly the same way. And I just decided to go in full throttle and make a full record. And I don't really want to go back to singles now. It was a pretty great process, and I feel like, it was worth it. So I can't wait for people to hear it.
That's a
What
pretty
was-
good endorsement.
Yeah, it is.
Endorsement for myself.
Well,
Yes.
for records versus singles.
Mhm. Was the was that transit did you was the transition into the album, was it a weird feeling making that change, or was it
Well, the first couple songs I had started working on as singles already.
okay?
So it really was just a continuation of the process because I've been doing singles frequently. I mean, I usually do one every 3 or 4 months. The last one I released was in May. So that was kind of like the last one before the big album. So
Yeah.
I would say financially it was a transition.
Yeah.
There was a lot more involved there. But not having an individual piece of artwork for every song was a bit of a transition because I had visions for certain songs to have certain pieces of artwork. But no, I wouldn't say otherwise. No, it was a really killer process. I loved it.
And having to pick the order they fall in. That's what I
Yeah,
think would always be weird to me, is like, how do you order them?
no. Well, I mean, I do a live stream every single Monday night for an
Hmm.
hour and a half,
Yeah.
and I put together a set list every week that's uniquely different. So I'm really into set lists from going to concerts for years, trying to make everything unique. So that was pretty easy for me to put that together, just to flow.
This
So
is a permanent set list. Like, this is
it is.
eternal.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's right. It's definitely right.
Good.
And
That's
I gotta
awesome.
say, I was listening to the record, and as it was over, I was just kind of like, I think I want to start this again.
Well, that's
Like
great to hear.
It's
it just
huge.
had this vibe of like it moves quickly, it kind of goes a bunch of places, and yeah, it kind of leaves you wanting to hear it all again. You mentioned your Monday night streams, and you've done, I think it's almost 300 of them.
Getting there.
How many people join this? How did this get started? I'm gonna assume it's COVID related.
Yeah, 100% COVID related. I always wonder to myself, would I have ever thought to do this if it wasn't for COVID? Because it's for me, it's the greatest thing ever. I'm excited every single Monday, literally, as if I'm going to go on stage at a venue. I'm as excited to go in my kitchen and start playing for people. As far as how many people join, it varies between 7 and 50 depending on the week. As
Hmm.
far as concurrent users at a time, it's had its peaks, its valleys. It was really big at the beginning of COVID because everyone was home, and then it dripped really, really low for a little while, and I had to build myself back up. But I'm reaching close to the COVID numbers now, which is exciting after all these years. So yeah, I'm always pumped. I mean, I set up my camera in my kitchen, and I know there are people out there who are psyched about it. So it's hard not to kind of reflect that enthusiasm into my performances. I love it.
Well, and I feel like looking at the set lists, they also kind of belie that enthusiasm. If I may quote from November 3rd, 2025,
Okay.
um, your last three songs, and I feel like you can tell a lot about a performer by their covers. Um, you played the Rainbow Connection and credited it to Kermit the Frog, so no notes there.
Yes.
Um, Talk Dirty to Me, and then New York, New York.
I mean, it's a
That is
trifecta.
that's a 1, 2, 3 punch that most
It
people
was
will not be
request
getting.
night.
That was
Yeah.
like as ain't no one getting up from that lineup.
No.
Oh my God. And I think I did mostly originals throughout the rest of the night. But
Yeah.
it was request night, and my fans, they definitely know that I'm willing to just about do anything if they want to hear it because I'm so grateful that they tune in. And, gosh, I don't know. The New York, New York, it was a woman who had just run the New York Marathon. So that was the idea there. Talk dirty to me. I mean, it's just a blast.
Yeah.
You don't need to apologize or
Right. No
explain.
one should
Yeah.
ever.
I saw
Yeah.
Poison back in the day. I saw him. It was Poison. Warrant opened up at Nassau Coliseum around 1992, probably.
Nice.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, I feel like we could have guessed the decade.
yeah,
I
Um,
mean, some of us still see
the
poison
venue.
every
Yeah.
decade.
yeah, yeah.
Have you always had this sort of openness to all sorts of music and all genres? And because I
Always.
feel like that must have fed your writing process too, of just not being being opposed to any sort of segregation or different types of music. Like it is all fodder, it's all coming in, and you're willing to tackle it all.
Yeah, I'm going to credit that to Buzz Universe. That was a band I was in from 2003 to 2012. There's a few records out there on Spotify. I was not the leader of that band. I was just the bass player. But the theory that Alex, our leader, had was just we can do anything. So that was a band that just was, right field, left field all night. It would be swing jazz, it would be funk, it would be rock, it would be a Pink Floyd cover like Astronomy Domine, and then a Marshall Tucker Band cover, and then our, huge number of originals. That was the whole theory of that band. And sometimes I think that was a little bit of an enemy for that band because people couldn't really define us. We'd be going for a festival gig and people would not know what we were exactly. So I think that's a huge part of it, but I think what I do is a little less extreme. That's all. I do think there's variety in what I do, but I feel like there's a little bit more of a foundation in regards, especially in the lyrics, because, it's just kind of a lot of personal stuff and a lot of heart throughout whatever style I'm doing in my originals.
And I think that's something that I at first it kind of grew on me as the record went on. Your writing style is not overly there's not a lot of allegory, there's not a lot of symbolism. It is a story, it is a tale, it is, nothing fancy lyrically. Um, that I think very quickly kind of grows on you as a listener. You're like, this is so interesting, and there's a personal nature to all of it that you don't have to weed through what is he really talking about? What's this really trying to say? Um, it's just straight there. It's a almost a main line to somebody's point of view and story. As a songwriter, is that how you've always been, or did it take you a little bit to find this voice and feel comfortable writing like that? Because there's a definite vulnerability to it that others don't, other types don't have.
That's first of all, it's a huge compliment. Second of all, I just find that the less you think about it, and the more you just kind of let it happen, that's just the natural progression of it. And I've mentioned in other interviews that songwriting has been very therapeutic to me in a lot of ways over the years. So I definitely feel like just letting my heart do the writing on its own has kind of just lent itself to what you're describing. But I don't know if I can really describe it beyond that. Beyond that.
How long did it take you to find that, though? Because I feel like everyone starts writing songs thinking they're going to be Bob Dylan, and then you're like, well, no one can write like that sort of flowery prose. Um,
Sure.
but to find this vein and this way of communicating is really interesting, and not a lot of people can do it or do it well.
I think just practice, and just not ever stopping, and maybe a little bit of obsessive compulsive always have to be creating. Once I kind of realized I had a voice and I had an ability to write catchy songs that would get stuck in people's heads, it just became a bit of an addiction. But practice just makes it better. Just keeping on. I remember a Neil Young interview where he said, if you can't think of a song, go out and mow the lawn. And that makes sense in a lot of ways, but that's not really how I roll. If I can't think of a song, I try to come up with another song.
Oh,
So it's just fun. It's a brain activity. It's a brain activity. A lot of people do brain activities just to kind of, advance in their age. They come up with, I remember Nintendo had a thing they were demoing in Union Square Park in New York City once, like, this is a brain activity thing. If you play this game, your brain's going to be better. And for me, that's my brain activity. I'm talking 20 years ago. I don't know what this video game Nintendo thing, but you can eat blueberries, or you can exercise your brain. And for me, it's just a great brain exercise.
if
I mean,
only
beat
we
Sudoku.
all, oh my God, anything beats Sudoku, anything. But if only we could all be so lucky for our brain activities to be that we just create amazing art and songs and
Well,
music.
that's a compliment. Thank
You
you.
know?
Yeah. For everyone you guys think is amazing, there's probably five that are embarrassingly bad. So
Well,
Well, I
to
was
each his own, though. Somebody's embarrassingly bad song could be the next great I don't know, like earworm, right?
No, I mean it's true because the song "You Set the Tone," which was the first one on the album, to me in my mind that was a throwaway song, honestly. And I was playing a place called the Fox and Crow in Jersey City, rest in peace, another original venue gone. But I decided during the show, it was a full band show and it was a very intimate space. And I decided for set break, instead of taking a set break, what I would do is I'd be like, okay, the band's going to go get a drink and I'm going to turn off the entire PA system. I'm going to stand up on a chair and I'm going to play a few songs, completely acoustic. And so I got up on a chair and I said, hey, everybody, a lot of times I busk and I just kind of wanted to give you the vibe of what it's like when I busk. And I played a cover of Hopelessly Devoted to You by Olivia Newton-John,
Yes, of
Sure.
course. Amazing.
which I also played last night on TGIM. I mean,
Amazing.
hear my version for yourself before you say amazing.
I
But
know, but it's a endlessly wonderful song. I mean,
yeah, yeah. And so I played that, and then I played You Set the Tone. And it was fine, it was cool. But there was a girl named Karina, a Hoboken's open mic host, who came up to me a week later, and she's just like, that song, You Set the Tone, that's the one. And I'm like, really? She's like, oh, I love that song. And every time she'd come to an open mic and see me, she'd be like, come on, play You Set the Tone. So that made me realize that it was a song that maybe would be worthy for the album. And I do think the reason I chose to put it first was because it's very whimsical. And I feel like the album goes a little bit deeper, but it would be nice to kind of start it on just a fun, happy type of song to kind of set the stage that, don't take me too seriously, but
I mean, it
get
literally
ready.
says it, right? I mean, it's the perfect title for an opener for an album or a show.
Yeah, thank you.
Like, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. You got to start the show with that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you work with the producer on the record? Do you normally work with the producer? Because again, like if having these songs that even you don't really completely maybe get the power that they have or the effect they have on people, does somebody help you kind of weed through the material? Because it seems like you're producing a lot of stuff at a
Okay,
pretty
so
big
yeah, I'm
clip.
not a producer. I've had the same producer for 10 years. Every single song I've ever done has been produced by John Roccasano. And in the recent years, he's my drummer too. So he is my producer. At the same time, though, while he is an absolute Jedi on the controls and the mixing and all of that stuff, he doesn't make any decisions for me as far as what goes where or anything
Hmm.
like that. Though we did, him and his studio owner partner, who is also one of the guitarists in my band, him and I, the three of us got together when we first decided on the album just to kind of make a big draft board for it.
So the order, the selection, all of that was all just you kind of
That was me.
feeling
That was
out.
all me. Hmm.
How many? Because you said you're putting out have been putting out a single every 3 to 4 months. That's a pretty
For
good,
years.
yeah, churn of material. How many songs did you have to go through to get the ones that made the record?
Oh, well, the record's all ones that aren't singles already. It's 9 songs that have never been released before. So,
But like holding them back, or just, you know, were you picking them out of a pile of stuff, or was it sort of
oh
like he
yeah,
spoke to you pretty quickly and said, these are the nine?
I definitely felt like it was just, I looked at all my songs and decided on a nice bunch that would flow together. So I'm definitely excited for whatever I decide to do next. I have tons of material waiting to go. So yeah, I mean, there were some that it was just, there was definitely like Life in Jersey. That's a song that because I'm in New Jersey, everyone's super excited for, and I don't think I could have made an album and not included that because everyone always wants to hear Life in Jersey. So I'm not
Who were the
always that
backup?
excited to sing it, but it depends on the situation. Depends on the situation.
Who were the backup voices in there?
Okay. I just have a great network of musician friends. So I have a solo female backup vocal on 3 different songs. And then I have a big group backup vocal on 2 songs. So I can tell you the names. So it would be for the big one, as far as the 2 big ones with the 3 part harmonies, that would be Photograph and Rainy Days, just the very end of Rainy Days. And that was actually the last session for the entire album. And it was a super big fun party that we had. And it was Dana Harrison, it was Licia Wright, and it was Kennedy Gray. And they're all Jersey City / Hoboken. singers who I picked out and brought together for a fun night of recording. So, and then Abby Griffin is the backup vocalist on You Set the Tone, Little Janessa, and Superficial Lines. And she is a open mic host out in central western Jersey at the Flounder Brewing Company in Hillsborough. And just a really great, great young lady with a great voice that I thought worked well with mine.
It's so interesting too that you kind of have gone through the open mic circuit and busking, and this is your approach. And it seems like this has sort of always been your approach of like, let me play you something. Let me share something with you. Has that always been your approach to take you a while to kind of find that? It just seems intimidating to me, basically, is what I'm asking.
Oh, it is. It is. I mean, every time I'm busking, I have to kind of give myself a pep talk before I start. You know, I'll be almost ready to go, and then I'm just like, okay, you can do this. And this is, you know, all these years because it's scary. It's really scary. And if I'm doing it in Washington Square Park per se, I'm going to get rejected about 50% of the time. People look like you're crazy. If I'm doing it at a Fish concert in the parking lot, I get rejected 1 out of every 20 times. Or at a Goose concert, you know, very rare. People are pretty excited and open at those type of events, but they don't happen every day. And sometimes I just feel like I need to get some new Spotify followers, so I go to New York City and do it. And yeah, it's never easy, but the reward of the really good ones is incredible. You know, you can't even, some of the best memories of my life.
And you mentioned, Goose and Fish, and even earlier talking to the editor of Relics, um, this sort of jam band world, which these songs are not of that genre. Do you open them up more? Do you like kind of just playing with them, or do you like that kind of short pop suite of like, this is the perfect 2.5 minutes you need right now?
Yeah, it's funny because I'm a jam band fan. I'm really into Widespread Panic, Fish, Goose, all those bands. But as far as my songs is concerned, I feel like they have a general vibe that goes well,
Hmm.
but they're not necessarily big jam songs. As far as my band is concerned, my band does not play a ton because there's not a lot of good paying gigs in the area where I live. But we do jam a decent amount. We don't go too crazy. But when, you know, in a situation like where we would be playing festivals, I would definitely be super excited to open up some of the songs a bit more. The chops are there. There's no doubt about that. But, you know, if we have 45 minutes and we've got 9 great songs, we're going to want to play them. So we don't want to spend 20 minutes kind of noodling in those type of situations. So again, those kind of shows haven't really opened up for us yet, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get festival invites one of these years and start getting to get in front of more of the jam band crowds. So I'd be pretty excited to do a little bit more jamming and see where that can go.
So I know there's at least one song on the record that you haven't shared at all, that you haven't played. Have the rest of them, have you played them? Are you excited to play them more? Kind of have, what's the relationship that your listeners have with what's on the record?
Yeah, well, 8 of the songs everybody who watches my TGIM show definitely would be familiar with already. And then there's one that I just held off on because it was I was just so excited. I knew it was a really, really great song. And I said to myself, you know what? Let's not even play this on the Monday live stream. Let's hold off on this one so my real supporters can have something exciting to look forward to they've never heard before. And I have not even played it at an open mic or anything. So I think it's a very special song. Hinges, it's called. So
Hmm.
The title.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, are you excited to take this out? But it seems like you're kind of just always out with this, that there is no sort of like tours per se. It's just part of the process is playing these out live.
Mhm.
Um, are you planning on kind of trying to expand your reach a little bit, kind of go outside of Jersey, or are you just sort of thinking like stay in Jersey, stay with the folks who kind of got you this far?
well, if the songs and the album and future albums are enough for there to be a demand for me to start playing events that are outside of my area, I will definitely do that. You know, I mean, the sky's the limit if the doors open up for me. And I think that if music is strong enough, you don't necessarily need to, you know, drop your entire life. until the opportunity arises. So I'm hopeful that that will come someday. In the meantime, I'm just going to keep playing wherever I can for as many people as possible. And I also think that the YouTube thing, I mean, I'm reaching people all around the country. And I mean, it's kind of like the game of Risk, you know, you have one fan here, you have one fan there. You know, I have fans in all different states around the country. Not everyone, but you know, Arkansas, Nebraska, Florida, Maine, and not enough to fill clubs in all those places yet. But I just find that the YouTube opportunity really can save me some gas money and enable me to continue to provide for my family in a way that I wouldn't be able to do if I were to just go and hit the road at this point. So it's just not feasible right now, but I'm going to keep working hard to make it feasible at some point.
You can pick up a copy of Gregory McLaughlin's self-titled debut December 12th. For more information and to find links to his Monday night YouTube shows, check out his website, GregoryMcLoughlin.com.